Hello, everybody. Welcome to our presentation today. My name is Robbie Burbeck. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, Neil Brady. We both work at Salesforce, and we want to talk to you a little bit about how we've been leveraging AI and Slack to really supercharge the whole organization at Salesforce. Wouldn't be a Salesforce presentation without reminding you all about the forward-looking statement. Make all of your purchasing decisions based on products that are currently available. We'll be talking a lot today about things that we built internally and with some future-looking product as well. And of course, thank you all for being here. We really appreciate all of our customers. Thank you for making the effort to show up today, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation. All right, Neil, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Robbie. Hi, everyone. Super excited to be here. Thank you for joining us here at TDX. Gonna walk through a little bit about why we even built on Slack. Obviously, we went through the acquisition, but there's really a ton of opportunity that Slack provides that we've really been able to leverage internally. Then we'll talk a little bit about a couple of apps that we have and really spend a lot of our time focusing on the AI opportunities that we've seen. And then if we have a little bit of time at the end, we'll talk a little bit around enablement and the realities of how you create an augmented workforce, being able to leverage these artificial intelligence technologies. So why Slack? I mean, it's an incredibly powerful conversation platform, but when looking across the entire offering that it has, it really can demonstrate some key areas of opportunity for your business. When we acquired Slack and were asked to look to build new capabilities, we saw a lot of opportunities just within our tools. Things were siloed. It was hard to get conversations. Who did I forget to CC on this email? Everything was disparate. Our manual processes really took a toll. I mean, something that would take a few minutes of review was instead taking days in order to complete. We had a ton of inefficiencies across the organization. And of course, we had tools that were just missing from the flow of work. If you forgot to include something in an email, if you're working in Salesforce or you're working in another tool, but you need to actually reference something else, it wasn't there. It wasn't easy to find. It required extra clicks. And now, coming on the other side of this acquisition, being able to look across several pieces of technology that we've enabled at the company, we've truly started to see a greener pasture with Slack. Now, Slack as a platform is super cool for a number of reasons, but it's truly incredible how it's designed to not only be leveraged by custom development teams like ourselves, but also our citizen builders, those who can plug and play with different workflows and enable their own automations throughout the process. We're able to focus on real high value items for custom delivery, and with the power of Slack's 2.0 platform, we can build modular capabilities that can then be plugged into those workflows by those citizen builders. So they're able to leverage those awesome functionalities and be able to plug it into their flow of work. There are thousands of possible automations that you can create using a no-code workflow builder, but there's also tons of opportunities to then leverage your own custom items. Looking at our opportunities and looking at that in comparison to Slack, it was pretty clear the direction that we needed to go. We couldn't just focus on some of that low-hanging fruit that would be built out through Workflow Builder. We need to look at things that would expand across multiple lines of business. So up here, you can see a number of applications that we own that are empowering these different lines of business. But the great thing is that each one can be leveraged by all of them. So yes, our sales teams definitely use approvals to close deals faster. It's in their flow of work. They can have the conversation and they can close out the quote. But those same approvals that took days before, our travel expenses, those also are going to be faster and more efficient by moving it into Slack, going from 2 days of waiting for an approval to 2 hours, which is a huge capability unlock for multiple lines of business and is replicable across all of them. Then, of course, you have just general tasks across your business in order to do operations that can be shared. You have case management from different teams. You have slide automation and the ability to get ready for customer meetings as soon as possible, and being able to do that using data-driven items, as well as being able to just be prepared as you go into those meetings. And of course, an announcement platform. Now, of course, those are cool and are awesome and are able to be used by all of our employees. But the real cool thing is around AI. How do we look at all of our lines of business and leverage it for not only a single line, but truly unlock for everyone? There's going to be a ton of opportunity for AI to augment our employee force. So what are those skills that we can look at and we can empower our employees to use? Our answer was Einstein. Now, we came a little bit before the Copilot came out. However, employees were starting to get familiar with generative capabilities. They were already starting to use ChatGPT, starting to look into Anthropic, other LLMs that were out there, and understanding how to interact with generative AI. We wanted to be able to provide a space for them to do that in a safe way and in the flow of work as a part of Slack. Doing that through Einstein. We were able to provide those extensible skills like summarization or brainstorming, but we could also add our own skills and be able to allow them to set their own calendars and be able to schedule meetings without having to go into another tool and being able to have that back and forth instead of with taking time from a colleague, being able to interact with Einstein itself. But the reality is, with AI, there's a lot of considerations that you need to take into place. And one of the biggest ones is trust. And with that, I'll hand it to Robbie.
Thank you, Neil. So, the unfortunate reality is that there's an AI trust gap that exists in the industry today. AI is the number one priority for almost every single CEO. However, your customers don't believe that AI is safe and secure. There's concerns around privacy, hallucinations, that company data will not be safe, that the LLMs will suffer from bias and toxicity. And these are not unfounded concerns. These are like realities that can happen without safe and ethical usage of AI. So how do we close this gap? This is where the Einstein trust layer really comes into play. So as we looked at bringing AI capabilities to Salesforce and to all of our internal use cases, it was imperative to us that we did so in a safe, trusted, and ethical way. For us, that means that we're going to leverage the Einstein trust layer all throughout the products and the offerings that we bring to Salesforce. The trust layer really enhances generative AI security. It ensures that there's integrated data privacy controls. There's filtering for PII information. There is toxicity screening. And we make sure that the information that we're providing is grounded and authentic. And we do this by enforcing and embedding company data with the LLM, so we make sure that we're not hallucinating along the way. And we also make sure that end users can accept or reject the regeneration at any point. There's always a human in the loop in these processes. So, all throughout this, we're going to be leveraging the Einstein trust layer to make sure that we have a safe and secure experience. We want to show you one of the examples that we've been working on and how we're integrating AI into a real business use case that came to us through some of our partners. So, as you can imagine, many Salesforce employees want to attend TDX and travel to Dreamforce and to see, get to spend time with all of our customers, but we also have day jobs to do and we have other work. So one of our business partners came to us with an example to ask, would it be possible to integrate an approval process for travel to Dreamforce and World Tour events into Slack? And we said, absolutely. We've been working on this cool new feature that allows you to submit workflows directly from Slack and have them submitted for approval. We can set up hierarchy chains. We can do all sorts of cool stuff. But wouldn't it be great if we were able to integrate AI and generative AI capabilities into that workflow as well? It would be. So I want to show you a demo now of how we've kind of used the power of not just the new Slack platform, where we can construct workflows and building blocks, connect them together, but then also integrate that with the Einstein trust layer. Let me play my video. Uh-oh. This is not the right video. Hold on. 1 second. This is what happens when you try and edit the video just before your presentation. How do I get out of full screen mode? Come on. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Great. So we're jumping into Workflow Builder in Slack, and we're going to create a brand new workflow here. We're going to create it from a link. So you can embed this link anywhere in Slack that you want it to be run. And the first thing we want to do is collect some form input. So this is where we're going to ask the requester a few qualifying questions about whether or not they're eligible for TDX travel. The first one of those is, are you meeting with any customers? Something we all love to do, to meet all of our trailblazers. We can add that directly into this form input here. And then the second question that we're going to ask is the number of customer presentations that you're giving, such as a presentation like this about AI. We can quickly add both of those into the workflow. No code needed so far. And then the final question that we're going to ask is, who is your L2 leader? Who is the person that's going to be approving this, your travel request? So we save all of those. Those will come in handy in a second. We're now going to add one of our brand new custom workflow steps. So we've created this new workflow step for Salesforce called Ask Einstein. And this allows us to pass in data from previous phases of our workflow into a prompt. So you can see I've pre-created this prompt here. And I want it to evaluate whether or not this travel should be approved. If the requester is attending multiple customer meetings, or are they they're giving a presentation, then we're going to approve their travel. I take the form input from the previous workflow step, as well as the answer to those two questions, then I hit save. Oops, I forgot to enter a field. I need the initiator ID as well. Okay, once this is saved, we're now going to connect this to our approvals workflow step. Scroll down to the custom section, add our custom start approval. So it's our TDX approval. I'm going to enter some information about it here. And then I'm going to take the input from the very first form step. For the person who used this workflow, we're going to add some details about the request, pass it all through so the person doing the approval can see what the context was. So are they meeting with a customer? Type faster, Robbie. Hurry up. There we go. Are they attending a customer meeting? And then are they giving any presentations? Great. And then we're going to embed our Einstein recommendation. So this is the response from the prompt that we put together in the second part of that workflow. And then finally, we need to send this approver to the very last question from the first step of the workflow as well. So who do we want to send the workflow to? That's your L2 approver. Okay, press save. Remember to fill out the initiator ID. Okay, and then we're all done. Just got to give the workflow a name. Give it a great name. Give it a nice description so it's easy to find. Hit save. And then we can publish the workflow. Great. So I'm now going to add this workflow as a bookmark to my TDX channel. We add up there so it's easy to find, easy to discover. I'm going to fill out the form that I just created. So yes, I'm meeting with a customer, or maybe not. I'm going to give a couple of presentations. And my L2 approver, Neil Brady, hit submit. And we'll see here, so this submitted the approval. And we can see that Einstein has recommended, the recommendation that came back is that this travel should be approved. And then it also gives us justification as to why. So this is, like, just to pause here for a second. With just a few clicks, we've been able to connect workflows in Slack to generative AI to create a trusted response to then inform, based on business rules and business logic, whether or not this should be approved. We strung that all together using the power of Einstein AI, Slack workflows, the new Slack platform. Really cool stuff. If we run the same, just to show that this wasn't all a trick, we run the same approval again. We say this time, still not meeting with a customer. I'm not giving any presentations. Neil, do we approve this one?
We don't.
We don't approve it?
Sorry.
Give it a second. Einstein rejected the approval. So this time you don't get to go. So it's a really neat way that you're able to introduce this interactivity and more intelligence into your business processes. Switch back over to the presentation. Where did the presentation go? Sorry, I really messed this up. Where is it?
Do it.
How do I get it to come back up? 1 second, please. Oh my God. What the fuck is happening? Sorry. It's going to open it again. Okay. No. Great. Technical difficulty. Sorry about that. So this is kind of like a very high-level flow of the architecture and how this all works. So you can see that the user starts off in Slack. They invoke the workflow. That hits a standard workflow step that exists in Slack, which then calls into one of our custom Slack functions, which makes a call out to our Einstein app. This is a standard Boat.js application, which then calls our Einstein trust layer, passes the response back through our Einstein app we run that on Heroku, back into a custom approval function, which then makes a call out to our approvals application running on Heroku, and then that sends the message back through to our Slack channel. It's a really elegant, so we'd already, before the new platform came out and some of these new functionalities were available, we'd made big investments into our Heroku application environment. So we're able to kind of bridge the two using this SQS SNS layer that sits in the middle of them all. So, really exciting functionality. We're looking forward to rolling out to more use cases. All right, Neil, take it away.
Awesome. All right, with a few minutes left, we have an incredible UI for our employees to interact with AI. We have an incredible platform that they can then use to plug into their workflow. But the reality is, it's not always easy to get people to use new tools. There's an enablement factor that's always required, especially when you're introducing something like AI, and when there are things that are still going to be coming up throughout the process as it continues to improve. So a couple of ways that we've gone about this is by trying to stretch across the company, having big announcements, letting people know that this is coming, keeping them aware of the new developments that are happening, and having some webinars and giving them an opportunity to try it out themselves. We want to build more trust with our employees, so being transparent about how they can provide us feedback, how they can get the right data, and then ultimately share that space for them to have that collaboration and be able to interface with our teams. And finally, we have the ability to demonstrate success. We have a showcase channel within Slack for people to share the things that they've done, the ways that they've used the tool that's unique, and that could be applicable to multiple different lines of business and use cases. But one of the other big things that we're doing is leveraging the power of AI for insights, that next layer of engagement for our employees, where they don't actually have to come up with their own prompt. They don't have to ask the right question. We have the access to some of the back-end data and the underlying processes like our planning and what we call V2 Mom, setting goals for the year. It happens in a cyclical manner, and our ability to proactively reach out to the employee, let them know of the deadline coming up, and providing them the opportunity to interact with generative AI to help them complete that task. Ultimately, building the tools is not enough. You have to do that second enablement step. Otherwise, no one's going to use it, and it's going to be sitting out there in the void. We want to be able to bring our employees back in an intelligent manner, something that improves their flow of work, and doing so by sending out these insights. The big thing that we're seeing is already increased engagement, and especially as we continue to add more insights and allowing employees to subscribe or unsubscribe to those that are useful for them. A ton of opportunity within this space, and one that we're continuously excited about. With that, I'd like to say thank you again for coming. We do have a developer program within Slack that we ask you all to join if you're interested. And then, of course, We have our coffee survey as well for those who are looking for some free coffee and are willing to give us some feedback. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope you all have a wonderful TDX.
Thank you all.